And in that letter that I just read you, this gentleman actually copy and pasted the terms of service for FTX into the email. And I just want to read you this. It says, none of the digital assets in your account are the property of or shall or may be loaned to FTX Trading. FTX Trading does not represent or treat digital assets in users' accounts as belonging to FTX Trading. So how is it possible that Alameda had this loan of such a large size?
Now, before we get into Sam's response to this reporter's question, I want to get your take on this, Robin. How is it that Sam Bankman-Fried, a known con artist, criminal, fraudster, stealing people's money, going against his terms of service, which is illegal, by the way, how is he being openly paraded around the mainstream media while we've seen other examples of people who've done similar things? Maybe not to the magnitude, but smaller, be either locked up or be completely scrutinized by everyone. Why is this happening? Why is he given the green light? Why is he given this kind of treatment?
Oh, isn't he telling the truth? He didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
So, all seriousness, it is astonishing to me and how we got to where we're at. And the fact that there's been no accountability, at least from the criminal and justice and from congressional side for Sam Bankman-Fried. There's been talks that we need to regulate the industry and that, changes need to come and cryptocurrency is bad. That narrative is floating around there with just the lack of an actual accountability, an actual call into question the fraud that this man has done. There's no politician standing up and saying, hey, we need some charges. We need an investigation into this man. He needs to atone for what he did. Or at minimum, the failures of his company and the gross negligence that he himself had a hand in. He's the CEO, the lead man in charge, and he was at the offices of FTX, which also shared the same space as Alameda Research. He was there. He is aware of what was going on. And if he is telling the truth, which we do not believe he is, if he was so naive to realize that there was fraud going around, he still needs to be held accountable. Now, did he lie? Absolutely. You can tell by his mannerisms, the way he answers, his body language. The man is not telling the truth. It's evident. It's apparent. And I'm waiting for some kind of litigation come his way, some kind of criminal charges, some kind of investigation to at least be made public, right? At least come out and speak on it, right?
I have zero issues with anything you said, my friend, and I 100% agree. He should be held accountable. I mean, look at all the people's lives he has destroyed. Let's go back and hear the answer Sam Bankman-Fried had as to essentially how did Alameda have access to these funds? So let's go ahead and take a look.
So there's that piece from the terms of service, but there were a number of other parts of the terms of service and a number of other parts of the platform on top of that. There is the borrow lending facility where users were lending billions of dollars of assets to each other, collateralized by assets on the exchange. You had obviously futures contracts where there are leveraged positions on.
Now, in the interview, so this was from yesterday, right, November 30th. In the interview Sam did this morning with George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America, George did a great job of continuing to push back. And his narrative was, well, you're saying that, yeah, this is the different terms of service, but those people never gave you the okay to lend the money to Alameda to leverage trade or margin trade or whatever this guy is talking about. So it seems to me, Robin, I don't know if you agree or not, but it's pretty cut and dry. You violated your terms of service and you should be held accountable, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a breach of contract, right? I mean, you're entering into a user agreement with your investors or your customers, people that you're servicing. And in the contract, it says you don't do X, Y, and Z, yet you did X, Y, and Z. You need to be held accountable, or somebody does. Now, if you can make evidence that, hey, I wasn't aware of it, this person was doing it unbeknownst to me, well, then show us as evidence. I don't personally believe that, but at least if you're going to have your defense be, hey, I was not compliant into this fraudulent activities, I was unaware, well, hey, at least bring something to the table other than I didn't know, it was a failure on my part.
It's obvious that's the narrative he's building is I made a mistake. I don't know. I wasn't sure. To the best of my knowledge, I don't remember. I blacked out. When
Did he actually say he blacked out?
No, but that's what he's saying. Like, I don't remember to the best of my knowledge, right? That is a tale as old as time. You play the I don't remember card. My mind went blank. I can't remember. But guess what? Where his mind didn't go blank. When he was destroying projects.
It wasn't me. Did you catch me on the blockchain? It wasn't me. All right.
All right. So let's move ahead in this interview from the New York Times, where Sam is continuing to be asked about the commingling of funds. How did Alameda have access to user deposits on FTX? So I want to show you when he was asked this time, and then 6 minutes after he was asked pretty much the same question and how he answered differently each time. So let's take a look at the very first time, well, the second time, that he was asked about the commingling of funds of Alameda and FTX.
Funds, that's what it appears like. It appears like there's been a genuine commingling of the funds that are of FTX customers that were not supposed to be commingled with your separate firm.
I didn't knowingly commingle funds. And again,
I didn't knowingly commingle funds.
You think that's a dodge from, hey, I personally didn't do it, but it was being done?
Of course, I didn't knowingly do it. Then he can throw the blame on someone else.
Right.
Now, about 6 minutes later, he was asked the same question again. And here is what his response, just 6 minutes later.
Alameda.
When did the commingling of assets begin?
So
Now, real quick, this reporter, Andrew Sorensen, got a lot of heat with his first sit-down puff piece he wrote for the New York Times, which I know Robin 100% agree was a complete disgrace, a spit to the face of the people who lost money. You got to give credit. He did a decent job in this one. He pushed back. And in this case, he assumed with the narrative that the commingling was happening. And that's the question. And here's Sam's response to this one.
and again, lots of traders had open margin positions on FTX where they would have borrows of assets where they would be short some asset against, against other assets as collateral. That being said, again, looking through this now, I think that position size for Alameda got substantially larger over the course of 2022, and that it was, I think, substantially larger by October of 2022. Probably by July of 22 than it had been in April.
But it sounds like it's fair to say that there was always a connection between Alameda and FTX, and almost, not almost, but from the very, very beginning, and then it never really stopped.
Well, I think it had been, in some ways, reducing. When you scroll back to 2019, Alameda and FTX.
So
it was some ways reducing.
So
So he's saying that, yes, we were commingling funds, but we were commingling less. That's what he said, right?
Well, here's the funny part. He said, it got bigger leading up to April and then July, and then it got bigger in October, then it got bigger in November. Now looks like he's kind of saying the opposite. And so, guys, if you're out there and you're even questioning whether this man is A, telling the truth, or B, genuine, the evidence is here. You don't even need my opinion. You don't even need Robin's opinion. See for yourself. Speaking of opinions, Robin, what's your opinion on just the whole commingling of funds? Obviously, we know if this happened in traditional finance, this guy would already be in jail. The company would be taken over. Something would have happened.
Yeah.
And so what are your thoughts on how the question was posed and how the reporter came back to the same question? And what are your thoughts on Sam's answer?
I think he's just trying to catch him in a lie, right? This is the most pressing matter because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, what essentially happened? Yes, there's fraud from top to bottom. There's all kinds of lying. There's different companies that tried to launch on FTX through Alameda and through their market makers, and they got screwed. Now, all of that aside, what is the giant pressing issue here? It's that, hey, the average investor, me, you, the people that are clueless, that don't have any insight into the company's inner workings, these people that were simply just using the platform to, say, keep their Bitcoin on or, have some money on there to trade, they all lost their funds. And those funds were used elsewhere. And so these are the most people impacted. The people that are the most vulnerable because they lack inside information are the users. And the user agreement is that, hey, you're not allowed to move assets from this platform somewhere else. It's in the agreement that you made up yourself. This isn't FDIC insured lingo that you're being compliant with. This is their own terms of service that they wrote up. This was their own mission statement, quote unquote, and they didn't follow their own practice. And so that right there is fraudulent, and him being the CEO, he needs to be held accountable.
Amen to that. Speaking of fraud and crime and criminal charges, Sam was asked point blank, are you worried about criminal charges and your criminal liability? And here's his answer.
You about criminal liability at this point?
So I don't think that, obviously I don't personally think that I have, but I think the real answer is that's not, it sounds weird to say, but I think the real answer is that's not what I'm focusing on. There's going to be a time and a place for me to sort of think about myself and my own future, but I don't think this is it. Right now, look, I've had a bad month. This has not been a fun month for me, but that's not what matters here. What matters here is the millions of customers. What matters here is all the stakeholders in FTX who got hurt and trying to do everything I can to help them out. And as long as
you believe him when he says all that matters. Okay, so he doesn't care. He doesn't care, David. He doesn't care if he goes to jail. You know what really matters is the people of FTX. He screwed him over this whole time, but now he cares. Now,
Robin,
at this moment.
let me put my tinfoil hat on here, right? My conspiracy.
And also, that was cringe with the people laughing in the crowd, right?
That he had a bad 30 days. How about people had a bad life because you literally ruined it for them? Especially the employees who were employed and conned into leaving their money and taking paychecks in FTX. Now, Robin, tinfoil hat, conspiracy here. Do you think he's not worried because he knows he's going to be protected? He knows he's not really going to jail?
He might believe that himself, and I could see that being his mentality because, he's gotten away with so much for so long. He probably feels invincible. Not to mention he has very powerful people in his family, mom being a lawyer. Also, you have his dad being well-connected as well.
Very well-connected.
Being a Ivy League grad. I don't know which school it was, but he probably truly believes that. And I think he thinks that he can probably raise money and fix everything. But, realistically, his image at bare minimum is tarnished, right? And so him being the savior of crypto, if I would hope he faces criminal charges. We all probably agree in the crypto space that he should face criminal charges, right? He's tons of fraud. Now, absolutely. With our system that we have, with the political connections that he has, campaign donations, things of that nature, wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't. And also, I'm sure he's going to also have a really good lawyer team too.
Which is what you said, Robin, is completely unfortunate.
Yeah,
wouldn't be shocked.
But his image is tarnished. He is gonna. He's never gonna be able to walk around in public without people approaching him and saying like, "Yo."
Not in the eyes of some of his staunchest allies like Kevin O'Leary and Bill Ackman. What do you think? You watching? Do you think Sam is a genuinely good person who just made a mistake, or do you think he's a complete lying con man fraud? Let us know in the comments. That'll do it for the video today. Catch us Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for our daily live show. On behalf of myself and Robin, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.